We'll go ahead and stand to do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation. Recognitions first.
Hello. Okay. Good evening. I'm Dr. Dawson from Tiger Paw Early Childhood Center, and I am so proud to present Mr. Keegan Van Vig this evening for our learner, a portrait of a grad character that he exemplifies is learner. He was nominated by his classroom teacher, but by also some other staff in our building because they see it across multiple settings. And so I just want to read a little bit about what his teacher said about him. And his teacher is Miss Melanie Brooks in one of our preschool classrooms. So he will go to kindergarten next year, and he is getting ready and ready and ready every day. He is so eager to learn. He takes on a challenge and works hard to get the job done. Watching him figure out how to do things like writing his name is inspiring. He lights up when he's figured it out and he's learned something new. And he is so fun. So I am so proud of Keegan, and I'm glad I get to present him to you all.
Good evening. This is Mr. J.P. Roark, second grader from North Elementary. Miss Williams unfortunately caught one of the many bugs going around North right now, so she could not be here tonight. But I'm going to talk about the ways that he has earned being teachable for Miss Williams. JP is an amazing young man who has flourished in his first year at North. He has absorbed every ounce of learning that has been facilitated by his classroom teacher, his reading teacher, and his related arts teacher. He loves to learn. He has grown 5 reading levels so far this year and is also a strong mathematician. Not only is he teachable, he is also inquisitive. He loves learning how things work. He has been a joy to teach. Truthfully, JP embodies all of our Portrait of a Graduate traits. He is very well deserved in being our Teachable Student of the Month.
Good evening. I have Riley Bonetta. She is a third grade student at Ozark South, and we are so excited to honor her tonight. And her third grade teacher is here to share some words on her behalf.
Hi, I'm Miss Kilcoyne, and it has just been a privilege to have Riley in my class this year. She just, every time she comes into my classroom, she not only has the character trait for learning, but she also just has a bright smile every time she comes into class, and she's ready to learn every time she comes in. And some things that I just feel like I see in her, she's determined and she's dedicated. If she sees a challenge, she embraces it and she wants to learn through it. And we just love that she has such a love for learning, and she is really inspiring to her classmates. Another teacher wasn't able to make it tonight, but she said Riley is an exceptional student and young lady. She is always seeking ways to increase her knowledge and ability in different areas. Even when something might be difficult, she presses through and continues working until she understands. Not only does she strive to learn all that she can, she uses her knowledge to lead and help other students. There have been multiple times when Riley comes back to class the next day and tells me what she learned at home with her parents. I know that she will achieve all of her dreams because her heart is to learn and grow. We're so happy to have you at South Riley.
Hello, I am here to present Miss Ella Randall from Ozark East Elementary. She was voted by all of our teachers in our school to be our Teachable Student of the Month, and her second grade teacher is here to speak about Miss Ella.
Ella is an exceptional student who consistently demonstrates a strong willingness to learn. She approaches every lesson with curiosity and enthusiasm, and she's eager to expand her knowledge and try new things. Even when faced with challenges, Ella remains determined, showing resilience and a positive attitude as she works through them. She listens attentively, asks insightful questions, and she applies what she learns with great effort and focus. I'm so glad I'm your teacher, Ella.
Good evening. I am privileged to introduce you. You can stand right here to Miss Ember Bogard, and her teacher, Mrs. Larimore, has some wonderful things to say about her. Ember was voted by all of the second grade teachers to represent West Elementary for Teachable.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Larimore and privileged to be Ember's teacher. She truly is an example for everybody, so this is perfect. Ember is a bright and compassionate student who truly exemplifies the qualities of being teachable. She seeks out information and she applies what she learns every day, situations. But not only is she teachable, but she's also responsible and reliable. And I know these are other qualities, but I believe that all of those qualities that she has made her be the person she is as far as being teachable. Ember consistently goes above and beyond, not only being a critical thinker, but also by helping others in the most thoughtful way. And she had an idea at home to assist others in their learning in her neighborhood and asked her parents if she could maybe have some people come over that maybe needed some extra learning in her neighborhood. And with the help of her amazing parents, she was encouraged to maybe see if there was some way she could use her gift of teachability at school. And I thought that was great. So now she teaches and she goes to the kindergarten, is a kindergarten buddy, 2 to 3 times a week, and she helps them learn their numbers and their letters. And this shows her incredible empathy and leadership as well as being teachable. And she just wants to share what she's learned with others. And Ember, we are so proud of the kindness and care that you show every day, and just keep shining and making a difference. And I know you will.
All right, good evening, everyone. So tonight I get the privilege to introduce the OMS Student of the Month for November Being Teachable, Mr. Harrison Yam. And with me I have one of our all-star 6th grade math teachers, Mr. Josiah Johnson. He's going to share a little bit about why his team nominated Harrison.
Now, I could go on all day about how awesome Harrison is just in the classroom. When you think of a traditional sense of what being teachable looks like. And I told him if I get too emotional and he starts crying, it's okay. So just be prepared. But what most impresses me about Harrison's willingness to be teachable is not only is he just a sponge for information, but you could see him being teachable in those moments that's not a traditional setting, right? Not a teacher being right in front of a whiteboard or anything like that teaching him. He is extremely knowledgeable, takes that information, you hear him absorbing that, manipulating that to his classmates and peers in times of collaboration or times working together at whiteboards. And he's able to take others' thoughts, paraphrase them and spit them out very well. So what impresses me the most about Harrison is his willingness and adaptability to learn in non-traditional settings. So thank you, Harrison.
This is Kale Franson. He is the Ozark Junior High 8th grade Student of the Month with Team Antarctica. And I had 2 teachers write some blurbs about him whenever it comes to him being teachable. So Mrs. Woods, that's a science teacher. Kale has a smile on his face every time he walks into a room. He radiates positivity. His positive attitude bleeds into everything he does. He is eager to learn and drinks in all the information presented to him. He is the epitome of why teachers would want to teach. And then Mrs. Pepsel, his English teacher, said, Kale is a teachable student who is interested and inquisitive about what is being presented in the classroom. In a world of don't put a spotlight on me, Kale is great about speaking up with his thoughts and questions. He is always willing to participate first and get the ball rolling. Congratulations.
Hello, I present to you the Finley River School Teachable Student of the Month. This is Sophia Shabura. I had the privilege of being Sophia's teacher last year, and this year I get to be her principal. Last year we shared a little secret that only she and I knew. I try to make all of my students feel like my favorite students, but Sophia, I think all year knew that she was my favorite student. We also promised not to share that with the rest of the school. The best thing about Sophia is that she is a thinker And I enjoyed listening to her think and process the ideas. I wish I could have had Sophia in class when I was an English teacher, because she would have been wonderful to read a book with. Not only is she thoughtful, but she has strong values and she sticks to those values, but she is open-minded enough to reflect on and consider other people's opinions and points of view, which is one of my favorite things about Sophia's teachability. Thank you.
I think so.
Yeah, I'll speak. Hey, Miss V, I love you.
Good evening. This is Riley Adamson. He is our Ozark High School Teachable Student of the Month. And here are some of the comments that our high school team had to say about Riley. We'll get there. Riley has excelled in his education through his consistent hard work, attention to detail, and an unwavering commitment to mastering the material. As a sophomore, he is completing his second year as a band student. Riley has great rhythm and enjoys playing his instrument with his peers, which I'm told is what instrument?
The cowbell Samantha.
In the classroom, Riley demonstrates a genuine passion for learning and an eagerness to go beyond the curriculum. Not only has Riley excelled individually, but he also takes the time to help encourage other students to try their best. Beyond academic excellence, Riley has been an active participant in community activities, where his contributions have enriched the overall learning experiences for everyone involved. A highlight of his high school experience has been volunteering at the Springfield Zoo, where he helped clean out a lion's pen. He's participated in job shadowing at the least of these food pantry in Ozark and is involved in many band events where his level of excitement inspires everyone around him. He maintains good attendance and stays up to date with his work and his classes. Riley has consistently shown that he is one of the most teachable students at Ozark High School, and I'm proud to recognize him tonight.
Next up is a superintendent report. Superintendent update.
I will be really, really quick because I know that Dr. Carson has a quick update to give you, but I just wanted to say that I wanted to brag on our teachers and our staff. You know, at this time of year, we've gotten through the first quarter. You're headed into Christmas and Thanksgiving, and the honeymoon for the students is over for quite a few of them, and realizing everything they need to be doing. But I just want to say that our teachers are focused. They just do such a great job, and that just it resounds throughout the entire district with the all the staff. I really can't say enough about them and be very thankful for the people that work here, because Ozark School has the best. And the one thing that every person does in this district is care about the students and try to meet their needs. So I just wanted to brag on our teachers and our staff.
District reports. As we talked at our work session, we talked about this is the month that they will release our APR, which is our annual performance report. And in our, we are not getting the traditional annual performance report because of the waiver. This year, we are getting an alternative APR. But what I explained to you in our work session is we will still get an APR with every other school district, even though we didn't concentrate on all the data and the pieces that fit into that APR, because we are still required to take the MAP test, even though it's not held as far as accountability toward us. We have data. So since we have data, they're going to produce the data. When they produce a list, then it's sunshineable. And so they will produce our list with everyone else's. So you will, on Monday, when the APR comes out, then you will be able to go to the website and find Ozark's number. What you'll also see, and we're not 100% how they're going to do it, there is a news release that's going to be sent out, and it will show that Ozark and 19 other school districts actually aren't using this number. We're using a different type of descriptive APR, and it will give a link to our website so people can find our descriptive APR. So even though we did not concentrate on the old APR system, we will have a number produced, and thankfully it's basically what it was last year. Even though we didn't concentrate on that number, it didn't really budge. So we are grateful for that, but that's not our look is on the alternative waiver, which you can find today, anyone can find on our website under the Success Ready dashboard, and it describes all the great things that our students are doing, and it concentrates on growth differently than the APR system from the past that we're trying to get out from underneath, because it really doesn't help us. It doesn't help kids grow. It's all autopsy data, where our new system looks at how does a kid grow from August to December to May. So we're looking at multiple points of the year in growth, and if each student is gaining the way we want them to. Questions? Yes.
Which is really the purpose of testing, right? Is to find out what areas still need to be improved upon, so you can help the student as they're going.
Correct.
So
Correct.
the old APR thing tested us on things we weren't even able to help fix.
Correct. Yes, for sure. Any other thoughts or questions? All of that data, it's embargoed, or I would give you our numbers right now, but I'm not allowed to actually say them until Monday when they come out. So all the data is embargoed as of right now.
Thank you.
What's that mean, embargoed?
It means that they've released them to the press and they've released them to the school districts, but we can't release it publicly.
But it's different than like the MAP test was. You couldn't even know what the questions were.
Correct.
The
Yeah.
teachers didn't even get to see.
You'll see the data, just not yet.
Right.
It'll be on Monday. And I had someone from Columbia, one of the news agencies from Columbia today, contact me. And so it's already, people will start giving interviews and start talking through the APR. So I'm not sure if the news will pick up on our waiver APR or if they'll pick up on the old APR. Who knows? First year for it. And so it really depends on how DESE releases the data. We're not sure exactly yet.
Right.
20 schools, we're doing something different. And we're still being held accountable to, because people are going to see what our score is, which is fine. But we also want you to know that when people are asking, we want you to tell them that Ozark's being innovative. We are trying to do what's correct for the students, and they're not just one test score. And that's why we're doing this. We're trying to tell our own story.
Getting away from just that needless testing, but actual testing that helps. I think it's kind of a testament that the score stayed the same, even though we weren't working toward that. It's a testament that what we're doing is right.
Mr. President.
Sir.
I do have one correction on mine, and I'd like to thank the Ozark School Board for their work over the last 2 months. It says 5 new bus drivers, but if you'll look under the new hires, you'll see that there are 6 new bus drivers. So that's a huge thank you to Robert Hedgecorth and Philip Link and the board for making that happen. So thank you. It is working, and I know that was in a published document. Date numbers change, and that's gone up this week. So thank you.
All right. Future dates. Next board meeting is December 19th. We got a lot of future dates out there. Check our website for things coming up.
Will you touch on the State of the Community event?
Do you want to touch on the state of the community?
No, I just learned about it not too long ago. It was great. Lori told me about it. Do you have some information to tell? Could you tell? It sounded like it was going to be a great way to have all the community.
It is a good way to have all of the entities in Ozark to be in one spot. It is sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce. And we will have sort of a meet and greet, and you will have tickets, as well as we would like to have some of our teachers, as well as our directors to attend, plus the public. We will, I believe right now, it is the school, the mayor, city administrator, the police chief, and the fire department. And there may be 1 or 2 others. I'm not exactly sure, since the chamber's putting that on. I'm not sure of all the people that are there. But it will be an opportunity to ask us questions. And we did this last year at the OC, and it turned out really well. And I think what they're trying to do is just to make it bigger and more inviting for the public, that they can submit questions. And if we can't answer them at that point, then we'll get back to them. But I think it's just a way of bringing the community together.
If I can add one thing, not many people probably realize that I think last Friday and then tomorrow, we're actually hosting a number of other school districts and some legislators from around the area, actually from around Missouri. They're coming here specifically to see all the innovation that Ozark is doing. So it's actually a testament to the administration, the schools, and to what we're actually doing here. It's pretty amazing. So good job.
Yeah. As well, December 10th is the opening date for filing for school board. So if you have a desire to serve on school board and run for the election, opening date starts on December 10th and it ends December 31st. Consent agenda is next on the agenda. Entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda. Motion by Sarah, second by Amber. All in favor? Unanimous approval. Did you want to say anything about the surplus? There was a healthy list of surplus out there. I didn't know if there was anything that needs to be said about. Okay. New business. First item on new business is discussion on live stream board meetings versus work sessions.
So it was We voted to live stream all of our board meetings and to archive them shortly after I came on the board. But the reason this is on here is because there was some discussion on whether or not work sessions are considered, are going to be live streamed. And work sessions are what we do when we all take off a day and we have staff come present different things to us, but there's no votes that are being taken. And I think some have been live streamed and some have not. So we need to make a decision on what we're going to do. So does anybody have a motion they want to make on this?
I would make a motion to
And archive. I would second that motion. With a caveat that I think that you should have some discretion pending if you want to change that, but as a rule, I think we should have that.
I think to add on to that, when we look at the historical numbers of people who actually viewed it, compared to the cost of doing it, I think that Dr. Wilson, are there some costs associated with that? To actually, here we have the people on site that we can do this and a lot less time, but what are the other costs associated with doing this?
We do, to have it closed caption, we send it out to have it correctly, the correct verbiage put on it. And, it could range from anywhere for a couple of $100 to, for if it's a 2-hour, but if it's an all day, you're probably looking at about $1,200 to do that.
I'd like to comment on that. The DESE, the State Board of Education, when they meet, they don't pay anyone to close caption their videos. They use the auto generate for the captions, and sometimes those aren't quite right. But, and I've heard us talk about there have been lawsuits brought against some places for not having the best closed captioning available. But the ones that I looked into, those were about required videos, like if a person wanted to sign up and take a college class and there was a video, then that needed to be pretty well accurately closed captioned. And there was a lawsuit because it wasn't. But they weren't about optional videos. Like our closed captioning, our broadcasts of our board videos are just convenience. They're optional. Our official minutes are our records. Our official records are our minutes. Sorry, I said that backwards. So the video is just an optional thing, like the many different kinds of videos that we promote during the regular month, high school sports highlights or walk and talk with Lori's or teacher of the month, or the different videos that we have. Those aren't even closed captioned at all, let alone done perfectly accurately. So I think after I got elected in 2023, there have been 5 work sessions since then. There were 2 in May, 1 in July. And July is the month that we voted to start archiving those. And then there was 1 in October. And then there was 1 this past spring, in May of 24. All 5 of those were broadcast. The 1 in May didn't start out being broadcast because there was some kind of technical difficulty, but then it got being broadcast because people were texting, they wanted to hear about the sheriff and different things. And we started it kind of in the middle. And one time Dr. Chezik said, there aren't very many people watching, but we kind of started it after we began the meeting. So all of those have been broadcast. The district started broadcasting those back in 2016. I found in the minutes from December 2016, you can correct me if that's not right, because I might be wrong, that they started using YouTube to broadcast every meeting, every open meeting, whether it was a regular monthly meeting or whether it was a work session, or they did it even for sometimes they had special meetings, So all of those that I found in the different minutes had Zoom links. And in the December 2016 minutes, when the board voted to start using YouTube. Now, in February of 2022, that meeting was accidentally archived And Dr. Chesick talked about this last year when we voted to start archiving. After that meeting in March, the next month, the board discussed maybe switching to it using Zoom instead of YouTube. And in April of 22, they did decide to start using Zoom. And so now I think after we voted last year in July to start archiving them, I remember I watched the video to get a better recollection of how it happened. Dr. Chesick said we can switch back to the way we used to do it, and it's easy to save. There's no expense, no added expense to do it. The district boardroom where we have our work sessions is set up to Zoom. You just hit a button like a teacher would in a classroom. So there's not extra expense to actually broadcast it. Archiving it only has extra expense if you want to make sure the closed captioning is perfect. But it has free auto-generate option, which is what our state Board of Education uses for
But
theirs.
that's
So
going to
I
change. The
think they would
ADA,
be, I think they would be the example to follow.
but the ADA is rolling out new rules for 2026 in April of 2026.
And if that happens to affect our optional convenience
It will.
videos, if it does, then we can reconsider then. But up until then, I think we should continue broadcasting them because those videos are the best ones. Those meetings are the best ones. We get to hear about the different ways we're doing the testing. We get to hear about the options of what we can do with the budget. We get to hear about the facilities and the buses. And I mean, there's so much good information in those. I would think that would be the one you would for sure want the public to be able to see. And if one person watches it, that person goes and tells 10 or 20 of their friends. So the numbers of viewers is not really accurate for how many people see it and get to celebrate what's happening.
Yeah, so I don't disagree about the live. I don't have a problem with it being live streamed, but the problem is just how well do you want it to be live streamed? Yes, we can auto generate, we can do those things, but we can also just have kids go and learn on their own, but we're in a center of excellence. So I mean, if we're doing things in my book, I always want to do things excellent. So I would, if it were me, yes, we're going to pay to have it generated because I do this in my business and it takes the time to do that stuff. The auto-generated stuff doesn't always work. I watched the video from October and you could hardly hear half the stuff. So unless the microphones are up like this, we're not going to. So you're not going to hear those things right there because the microphones aren't, especially for the Zoom. So again, I don't mind live streaming. It's just a matter of those extra technicalities and those extra costs. Is it worth $1,000 every single time? Is it worth $12,000 a year for 100 people to watch it? 58 people in May, 112 in April, 49 in February. So these views are probably duplicated. Some of them are probably extra views. So
And they're multiplied as they
Yeah.
go and tell their friends what they saw.
So to me, it's not the ROI. Is there that much benefit to having it paid for that? To pay $1,000 a month or more for a few people to watch it?
Not $1,000 a month, right?
It's
Two-
$1,000. You just said it's going to be $1,200 to have
For
this
the
8 hours
only
worth
work
of
session,
for one session.
one of those.
Yeah.
I went to live stream. I mean, the motion is out there that we live stream and archive all of our official board meetings where voting takes place.
Right.
You have a motion
Motion and a second.
on that one, yeah.
It looks like Sarah's getting ready to say something. Were you getting ready to say something? Oh, sorry.
Okay, all in favor of the motion on the table? Aye. Any opposed?
It's kind of hard to vote because it was a two-pronged thing. I voted for it because I want to vote for live streaming and archiving the board sessions, but I don't like having to vote for it in the sense of not live streaming the work sessions, but
Motion passes. Next on the agenda is change orders, Branco final.
Yeah, and we presented some of this, or at least the idea, the concept that this was coming. So the 4 change orders as presented are the contingency money coming back to us, some allowances that we did not use. And, just really good management and partnership between Esterly Snyder, Branco and Ozark Schools. And I would point to our general conditions. So when you go out for a bid and, your general contractor, if it's a hard bid, is going to give you what it's going to cost them in general conditions. And they're going to base that upon worst case scenario. We got 4 locations. That's 4 superintendents. That's 4 trailers. That's 4 electrical. That's 4. And one of the benefits of a CMIR is they're able to do some cost savings. If this was a hard bid, that money would have automatically gone directly to them, no matter how they manage the project. The fact of the matter is we have a really good CMAR with Branco, really great oversight with Esterly Snyder, and just a great partnership with Ozark Schools. So when you see those general conditions, those are things that are coming back to us because of the partnership and the management. But this is really good news. As you can see, and basically not hitting rock was our biggest savings, but also just the partnership and the ability to I'm going to say save money and just consolidate services, and that's really good. So the recommendation is to accept the Branco change orders as presented.
Do you want to say how much money that is?
I'd have to turn around and look at it, but I would
sorry.
love to do that. $1,921,106 plus the $1.3 million that came back earlier in the year. So great job all the way around. We really appreciate that partnership. It's in building projects for the last 18 years. I have to say that these 4 were probably the most fun and the most on budget and on time. So great partnership all the way around.
Where does that 3.2 million or so go?
So it's bond money. So it stays in a restricted account that can only be used for those items that were listed on the ballot, which would include renovations and additions. So.
Yeah, I'll just say fantastic job, Curtis and the team there for this. I mean, usually in government contracting, you'll see overspending.
Yeah.
I mean, and here we're seeing savings. That's great, and that we're able to put that money towards needed facilities projects. So
They're just great work all the way around. Appreciate you.
Entertain a motion to approve the Branco final. Motion by Dustin, second by Amber. All in favor? Next on the agenda is South Roof Change Order number 2.
Yes, sir. And this is a substantial one. So we had some early in the project, as soon as they tore off the roof, we had substantial amount of rain come down in a very short period of time, and that caused damage. As we were doing that, the primary focus became we need to get the roof on, but we need to open the building. So the district worked with Esterly Snyder, who worked with the subcontractor or with the general contractor, and allowed us to focus on taking care of getting the repairs and ordering the supplies and everything that was lost in the flood, and allow the roofing company to complete the roof. So in doing that, the district accrued $133,544.36 in expenses. So the contract will be reduced by that amount to offset the money. That's still bond money. That bond money will be used to pay that debt. So it's not really changing the contract price. It's just it's changing who's getting the money. And you'll see that it's going to ServPro. And then you have a whole list of invoices that we paid to get. We wanted to get classrooms up, and we brought them in as soon as it happened. We brought them in that week. We brought the teachers in. Inventory, tell me what you lost. We'll take care of what we lost, but what in your classroom do you need replaced? Dr. Carson's staff did a really good job of doing the ordering and taking care of that for us. So, and then the other part of that, the last part is the liquidated damages. It was not on time, and I will honestly say that this is the first time we enforced liquidated damages, and the contractor has agreed to them. So this whole change order 2 is a deduct to the overall price of $171,044.36. Again, of that, $133,544.36 will be used to pay off the debt that we incurred for the insurance claim.
just to clarify, so the contractor's already agreed to accept all that?
Yes, so
Okay.
on a change order, before we bring it to you, we have their signature on it.
Okay,
So,
perfect.
yes, thank you.
Filed. It was simply, we paid out of pocket, out of the bond money. They have reimbursed us for said expenses. No insurance claim filed on our part or their part. They wanted to pay for that out of.
Correct.
pocket.
Yeah,
Okay.
and when I'm just saying that we have to have an account to
Yeah.
take it out of, so we took it out of our insurance account. Yeah, thank you.
That's what I was going to ask you. Was it the same amount? What they are covering the cost for, was that the same exact amount as what we covered?
Yeah, we gave them a list of everything that we occurred, and they accrued, and they agreed to it on 11/18.
That's
So,
good.
yeah, thank you.
Entertain a motion to approve south roof change order number 2. Motion by Dustin, second by James. All in favor? Unanimous approval?
Can I add one thing, Dr. Chesick? I remember being kind of hard on you about the air conditioner at the high school because you had said that never worked right from the first day they got it. And I'm like, well, why not? Why didn't you pursue that with them? Then that wasn't even you. But I remember being kind of hard on that topic, if not maybe on you too, I don't know. I want to say, good job finishing up with pushing, following up with this and saying, hey, wait, you guys cost us some money. We need you to repay that. Thank you for doing that.
And thank you, and I appreciate that. And it was also Esterly Snyder. Tom is here today. Tom's our roof guy, and he is amazing. But thank you. It's a team effort again.
Okay, next on the agenda is patron comments. We have 2 that have signed up to speak to us. Mr. Kevin Bright.
Thanks for letting me have an opportunity to speak. The item there, the discussion on live streaming board meetings and work sessions, not knowing what's going to be on the agenda, it's kind of hard to know how to address things and how to have conversations. And it's real important to be able to know, and this live streaming I think is real important. I was glad to hear you talking about that, and hopefully that's something it'd be nice to be able to come to a meeting and to be part of the decisions and hear how they're made and everything, rather than just coming in and hearing reports. But part of that has to do with, there's a lot of things that I'd like to share that have to do with that. Over the last 2 years, citizens have been compelled to address and correct the insertion of inappropriate influences in our public library system. Simply put, material containing pornography, pedophilia, transgender, and sexually explicit content have been intentionally placed in front of our children in our local libraries. That material is not acceptable for this community. Fortunately, we've been able to identify the influences, and we are currently on a path to reverse that movement. I attended the last school board meeting in hopes of hearing a discussion on how to prevent outside sources from redefining the proper use of restrooms and competitive sports programs. Public comment on this topic, as far as I know, has not occurred. After the meeting, I asked why the topic has not been openly addressed. I was told that a lawyer had advised the board not to act proactively on the issue. It would draw attention. Other school board members I visited with referenced quotes from the school administration and outside sources. Although these sources have credibility and some value, this is not their decision to make. A lawyer is to give legal counsel, and the administration is to administer the will of the citizens that employ them. I also noticed a consistent opinion that current cultural issues are not affecting the students in Ozark schools. These responses and statements are almost word for word what we face with the library. I have some concerns. Simply put, I will translate what I am hearing. The school administration, state and national organizations, and a lawyer from St. Louis that represent the administration and state and national organizations, not just in Missouri, but also in Illinois, are referenced as the basis for a decision, the decision not to act. I'm here to say that it is a time for a conversation, and that conversation starts here in the public meeting with our elected representatives. I've attempted to research the policies of the school, and my internet access is not sufficient to download the information. All too familiar are these obstacles and firewalls that have been placed as insulation between the public, the electric board, and the administration. There's been a shift in our nation, an awakening of how important local involvement is and input is to our communities. I think it would be wise for our local board to step back and examine who placed you in a position of authority as their representative. Our children need examples of leadership with moral clarity and a solid standard to follow. We can step up and declare who we are and what our standard is, or we can let every silly, destructive, shifting change confuse our children and destroy our culture. Now is the time for those conversations, and we are the ones that have to make those decisions. Our federal administration just recently set 10 goals. Number 1, we will respect the right of parents to control the education of their children. Number 2, we will empower parents and local school boards to hire and reward great principals and teachers, and also to fire the poor ones, the one whose performance is unsatisfactory. We will ensure our classrooms are focused not on political indoctrination, but on teaching the knowledge and skills needed to succeed. We will teach students to love their country, not to hate their country, as they are being taught in so many schools now. We will support bringing back prayer to our schools. There's 5 more that kind of go along that same line. I'm going to skip down. We live in a wonderful nation that's worth defending. Now's the time to be proactive and not reactive. If we do not raise our standard, our children will not know who they are. Louisiana is placing the 10 Commandments back into every classroom. What are we going to do? Mighty God, I praise you for who you are, and I ask for your forgiveness for what we have allowed to come against this generation. I thank you for the future that you have given us, and I pray that you hear our cries, that we will serve you and be known once again as one nation under you. I pray this in your precious name, Jesus. Almighty God, you are our King. I've got some scriptures that I was going to read, but I'm going to skip over them, and I'm just going to say, I know that we got a great community. I know we've got a great culture. Ozark is a wonderful place, but there's so many things going on outside of here. And after being involved in what's going on in the library, I don't think everybody realizes how serious it is, how much is coming in, and how we need to get some firewalls up to protect our community. Because if we don't do something now, we're going to go the way of Springfield, we're going to go the way of St. Louis, and it has to be here. It has to be from the bottom up. We have to get the parents involved. We have to have the public involved. We have to have conversations. I appreciate my time's up. But anyway, I thank you for hearing me. And God bless you all. I appreciate your service.
Thank you. Mr. William Downey.
I'm not going to preach tonight. I'd like to talk about communications and being transparent. In the district reports, filed November Communications BOE update, it says for the school, our communication department has developed 3 key guiding principles that reflect our commitment to build strong supportive relationships across the district. First, community engagement emphasizes actively connecting with students, families, and the broader community to create lasting partnerships. Second, internal culture and climate focuses on nurturing positive and collaborative atmosphere where staff and students feel valued and supported. And finally, transparent communication. This is all about fostering open, honest conversations with everyone involved, ensuring trust and understanding throughout the district. These principles guide everything we do to make sure our communication is meaningful and impactful. This should be something like the board should be doing. The transparency and communication is so important to the public. That's why the broadcast, the live feeds, and the archiving of the meetings is so important. And the last work session I wasn't able to attend because I wasn't feeling well. I was looking forward because it was supposed to be broadcast, and it wasn't. I would have come even though I didn't feel well, but that broadcast would have helped me see it. Transparency is, for public organizations and leaders and politicians and stuff. is really important for people to know what's going on. And in these meetings, you don't really have proper minutes. You know, someone's not writing down, this person said, and this person voted and voted this way, and this person said this, and those used to be proper minutes. And these recordings act as proper minutes, and they don't have to be put into words on text on there. I mean, we can see what you're saying in the video. I mean, and we can ask you, is that what you really said? And that's what I wanted to talk about. Also, the putting the public comments on the back of the meeting doesn't help very much. It kind of sets aside the public's comments on what's going on, because we're commenting what's going on in the board meeting. And how can we comment on before you even talk about it at the end? So it seems to be this doing it at the end seems to be kind of a moot point for practicality. What would really help if a person has a subject they want to talk about is when that subject comes up in the board meeting, that person should be able to come up, address the board right at that time, and that will be relevant and much better communication with the public. Thank you.
Right. That brings us to the end of our meeting. Need a motion to adjourn. Motion by Dustin, second by Amber. All in favor? We are adjourned.